Morning, friends. This is Hindi, and I'm coming to you from my home in Audubon, Pennsylvania. I am surely missing seeing you all in the store, but I thought I'd make this little recording to say hi and to share this little book that I have found years ago called Creative Campfires by Douglas R. Bowen, copyright 1974. You can find copies of this in a used condition on Amazon and on eBay for a reasonable price. I don't know that it's still in print. It's a nice book that I've used with my Cub Scout packs in the past and Boy Scout troops and my Girl Scout troop. And it has chapters on run-ons, openings, closings, stories, and also skits. And it's very fun. I thought that I would share with you one of my favorite stories today. It's called Rindercella. Once upon a time in a corn foundry, there lived a beautiful girl, and her name was Rindercella. Now Rindercella lived with her mugly other and two sad blisters. Also in the same corn foundry, there lived a Pransome Hints, and this Pransome Hints was going to have a Bancy Fall, and he'd invited people for riles amound, especially the pitch reaple. Now Rindercella's mugly other and her two sad blisters went to town to buy some dancy fesses for the Bancy Fall. But Rindercella couldn't go, 'cause all she had to wear were some old ruddy dags. Finally, the night of the Bancy Fall arrived, and Rindercella couldn't go, so she just cranked down and tried. And she was sitting there trying when all of a sudden appeared before her happy mud father, and he touched her with his magic wand, and there appeared before her Kig, Bolch, and Hicks White Sources to take her to the Bancy Fall. And he said, Rindercella, be sure and be home before midnight, or I'll turn you into a pumpkin. When Rindercella arrived at the Bancy Fall, the Pransome Hints met her at the door, because he'd been watching behind a wooden window. Rindercella and the Pransome Hints danced all night until midnight, and they lell and fuv. And finally the mid-clock struck night, and Rindercella spaced down the rares, and just as she beats the rodham, she slopped her dripper. The next day, this Pransome Hints went all over this corn foundry, looking for the beautiful burl who had slopped her dripper. They finally came to Rindercella's house, and he tried it on the mugly other, and it fitted it. Then he tried it on the two sisty ugglers, and it fitted it. And then he tried it on Rindercella, and it fitted it. It was exactly the sight rise. And so they were married and lived heavenly after happily. Now the story of the Maury is, if you go to a Bancy Fall and you want a Pransome Hints to lil and fuv with you, don't forget to slop your dripper. I hope you enjoyed that fun little story as much as I enjoyed reading it. As I said, it's one of my favorites. And I look forward to seeing you, my friends, back in our shop in the near future.